Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Iron Bark Podcast, and I am your host, Epion, and today, we are going to discuss marine life, specifically whales, and I believe dolphins. They might be porpoises, don't get me wrong. And we're also going to talk about dinosaurs. We're going to talk about dinosaurs, and are they as dead as we think they are? I mean, have they been as dead as we think they have been? That probably doesn't make sense because I didn't think it out clearly. Anyway, we're going to start with a news story. This story was quite interesting. A kayaker was swallowed alive by a giant humpback whale. He was swallowed alive by a giant humpback whale. The biggest whale, the humpback, it swallowed him. So this guy was swallowed by a humpback whale, as I've repeated several times. Can you fucking imagine how terrifying that would be? You're just out for a little paddle. You're thinking, oh, well, a shark would be pretty scary. Imagine there was a fucking shark. Oh my god, and a shark is going to come up. It's going to bite my raft. It's going to bite my thing. Oh my god, we'll have to get out of here. Nuh-uh, psych. Guess what? Fucking whale. Swallow you one gulp, son. Fucking get you. It'd be terrifying. It really would be. Like, I've seen a lot of paddle boarders and a lot of kayaker videos where they encounter orcas. And orcas are pretty predatory. And they, like, hunt moose, all kinds of shit. I think it's only a matter of time, folks, before the orcas catch on to how good we taste. Unless we actually taste like shit. Imagine like one time an orca accidentally ate one of us and we just tasted so fucking bad that they were like, we're never eating a human ever again. That was fucking disgusting. We probably just taste like absolute fucking garbage. I bet you we do. We have to. All those like preservatives and all that like plastic garbage we eat, like holy fuck. But they probably like took one fucking bite and were like, what in the abso fuck is this? Anyway, I'll dive into this article here. Where does this come out of? This comes from the BBC. You like the BBC, don't you? That's a joke out of Musk's book. The article starts with, I felt a slimy texture brush my face. Pause. Man describes being swallowed by whale. The first thing kayaker, I'll leave his name out so I don't get fucking sued even though it's public knowledge. You can just deal with that. Noticed after he was eaten by a whale was the slime. No, not the slime. No, anything. I spent a second realizing I was inside the mouth of something. That maybe it had eaten me. That it could have been an orca or a sea monster. The 23-year-old told the BBC. The man had stated he was trying to think of how he might survive inside the humpback whale, like Pinocchio. Then the creature spat him out. The Venezuelan kayaker had been paddling throughout the Strait of Magallanes off Chile's Patagonian coast. It's a beautiful area. I gotta go there sometime. With his father when he felt something. It hit me from behind, closing in on me, and then it sank me in, sinking in on me. It's kind of. I watched a video. There's a video. That's kind of fucking cool that there's a video because things, how quick it happens, you would think that would never get caught on tape. It was caught. I say tape. That's how you can tell how fucking old I am. It was caught on digital recording. That doesn't sound as cool. It was caught on film. Do we even use film anymore? Does Hollywood still use film? I don't even think so. I think only for some stuff. I think it's like a big thing now when they use it. Wasn't like Oppenheimer filmed in film? Recorded in film? Yeah. So you get swallowed by a whale. The first thing you're probably going to think is, what in the abso fuck is going on? What in the abso? And for all intents and purposes, it may as well be a monster. It's basically the exact same thing, right? Like it really makes no difference to you what the fuck is swallowing you. You're fucked. But luckily for him, it only lasted like a split second. Kind of a cool story to walk away from, though. Being swallowed by a whale, you were inside a fucking whale. That is a story. That is a fucking cool story. Like, if I had that story in my background, I'd be telling everybody I ran into, yeah, Well, have you ever been swallowed by a whale? And that's the kind of shit people would never fucking believe. And this guy has video to prove it. So that's kind of cool. I'm actually kind of jealous of this guy now. I want to be swallowed by a whale. Pause. But you know what I mean? Like, oh shit. Dropping shit like a pigeon. Yeah, so that's the first whale related article. The next one is going to be about whale songs. You make me feel so young. You make me feel like a whale song that I'm gonna swallow what you lay in Kayaker. So this comes from Scientific American. Whale songs obey basic rules of human languages. So this is kind of cool because it makes me think that maybe the evolution of language and speech is maybe constant throughout life, at least life on Earth as we know it, and that has to follow like a certain developmental pattern. So I'll read the article. I'll probably do a better job of explaining what I'm trying to say here. Humpback whales learn their haunting melodies in much the same way humans learn words. For all the world's linguistic diversity, human languages still obey some universal patterns. These run even deeper than grammar and syntax. They're rooted in statistical laws that predict how frequently we use certain words and how long those words tend to be. Think of them as built-in guardrails to keep language easy to learn and use. So basically within the confines of the human brain, or it's like, its understandings of things. And now scientists have found some of the same patterns in whale vocalizations. 2 studies published this week show that despite the vast evolutionary distance between us, humans and whales have converged on similar solutions to the problem of communicating through sound. It strengthens the view that we should be thinking about human language not as a completely different phenomenon from other communication systems, but instead that to think about what it shares with them. Yeah, that's kind of like the takeaway to think about it. It's like our eyesight, our brains might function a little different. Maybe. I don't know, but we hear things similar, so why wouldn't we speak things similar? Interesting. Right? I don't know. Interesting to think about that maybe evolution and communication is similar across species. Like, dogs can understand us. We can't really understand dogs. If they're whimpering or they're like excited, we can tell. So communication definitely does sort of flow and if an animal's pissed at us and like warning us like it's going to fucking attack, we understand what that means. So there are sort of like types of communication between humans and animals that we can perceive and understand. We know what the fuck we know what they mean. We just don't know exactly what they're saying. Like when a human's mad and he's like, get the fuck away from me, I swear to God, you come any closer, I'll knock you right out. Like, we don't know what that cat is saying. The cat's just going, so it's like growling. But who knows what it's saying? It could be saying the same shit, right? Come any closer, I'll bite your fucking fingers off, I swear to God. Like, it could say stuff like that. Let's see, what is the next article we have here? Oh, this is about dolphins. We got some dolly fans. We got some dollaramas. We got some dollarinis. So where's this come out of? Smithsonian Mag. Oh, the Smithsonian's been doing some people dirty. I'll listen to the Rogan podcast with the guy from the Alaskan Boneyard. Smithsonian, you've been doing people dirty. So let's see. This article is titled "See Rare Superpod of More Than 1,500 Risso's Dolphins Spotted Off the Coast of California. Whale watching tour operators encountered a mass gathering of cetaceans." Is that what they call them? Cetaceans? I should know this, right? Don't be mad at me. While looking for migrating gray whales. So cool. They're a bunch of like white grayish dolphins. Superpod. The aquatic mammals were gliding through the water, breaching, slapping their tails on, and generally having a great time. The marine biologist says that both adults and juveniles joined in the fun. They looked like they were having a big party. Some of the dolphins perform techniques known as bow riding, which involves swimming in front of the boat using its pressure wave to propel themselves through the water. Kind of cool. I don't know. That's kind of a boring ass story. I wish it would tell me something cooler about it. This article kind of sucks. These creatures are not considered endangered or threatened. They do face other kinds of hazards. Well, it's good to know that they're not endangered. So that's a success story. That's a success story. All right, time to move on to the second part of the podcast. Oh, the chair is creaking. Creaky chair. Creaky, 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 creaky chair. I need a new chair. The second part of the podcast involves dinosaurs. We're going to go in deep on the dinosaurs. Oh, yeah. A cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah. Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah. What do we got here? All right. So this comes from Earth.com. Collagen discovered in 70 million year old dinosaur fossil. Hear me out. When I read this article, the very first thing I think to myself is it bullshit? Is it bullshit? And I think that perhaps, maybe it could be. Now, one of two things comes from this. Either we can get collagen from extremely old bones still that are basically fossilized or should be fossilized, or the bones aren't really that old, which would mean dinosaurs didn't all go extinct that long ago, which is another kind of out there thing to say. Or is it a contamination of something else and it's being mistaken for dinosaur collagen? The article's interesting. So, for many years, paleontologists believed that the fossilization process completely eradicated any organic molecules in ancient remains. Now, scientists at the University of Liverpool have discovered that some Mesozoic fossils still preserve vestiges of their original organic compounds. The findings shed light on how proteins like collagen may survive for millions of years within dinosaur bones. From skepticism to discovery. The research was focused on well-preserved hip bone from an Edmontonsaurus, shout out to Alberta, a duck-billed dinosaur excavated from the Hell Creek Formation in South Dakota. The fossil, weighing roughly 50 pounds, that's 23 kilograms, is part of the University of Liverpool's collections. The researchers used advanced mass spectrometry and protein sequencing to detect and analyze signs of bone collagen in the sample. The results contradict the long-held assumption that any organic materials found in fossils must be modern contamination. Like I said, the research shows beyond a doubt that organic biomolecules, such as proteins like collagen, appear to be present in some fossils. Our results have far-reaching implications. Firstly, it refutes the hypothesis that any organics found in fossils must be the result from contamination. These collagen remnants offer a rare glimpse into dinosaur biology, opening up new questions about what biochemical information might still be gleaned from the well-preserved fossils. So, the takeaway from that, if we're to accept the paper study and the test that they've done as being true and provable, that's pretty neat. So like a well-preserved fossil may contain some biomatter. Interesting. I wonder what else we can get from it. The gleaning part. What can we glean? The gleaning part is important. It'd be cool if we could clone it. I don't think that's enough because I don't think I should get DNA from it, but I digress. We can learn a bit about, I don't know, how they were structured, maybe how they moved. It's pretty neat. I don't know. I think bit more research is needed. I'm still skeptical, but we'll see how far that can go. But that brings me to our second story. And this is out of newscientist.com. And it's called Amazing Plesiosaur Fossil. So if you don't know what a plesiosaur is, it's the goddamn Loch Ness Monster. It's the Loch Ness Monster and it wants about 350 from you. Amazing plesiosaur fossil preserves its skin and scales. A remarkable plesiosaur fossil reveals that the extinct reptiles had scales like modern sea turtles. Unlike the Ichthyosaurus, I don't even know what that is, that lived during the same time period. The soft tissue of the plesiosaur has been studied in detail for the first time, revealing that the marine reptiles which lived during the age of the dinosaurs and went extinct at the same time had scales similar to those of modern sea turtles. The 183 million year old, 4.5 meter long plesiosaur fossil known as MH7 was first excavated from a quarry near Holzmaden, Germany in 1940. But it was buried in a museum garden to protect it during the Second World War. It then spent the next 75 years or so in storage until it was finally assembled and prepared for study in 2020. That's pretty cool. So another thing, the plesiosaur is pretty much what people describe as a Loch Ness Monster in Scotland, which is a cryptid, and it's also what people believe to be the Ogopogo in British Columbia, Canada, which is, they're both considered to be plesiosaurs from people eyewitness testimony. And now we have a fossil which has a skin preserved on it still, and they're able to determine that the scales on it were similar to that of a sea turtle, which is pretty fucking cool if you want to think of like a dinosaur that's like a giant sea turtle without a shell. That's interesting stuff. That's really fucking interesting, right? Like, I imagine like a sea lion with a really long neck and really long fins and sea turtle skin. That's basically what it is. That's awesome. That could be like, but is it as old? Because it's so well preserved, is it as old as they say? Because this article says, what did it say? What was it? Oh no, 183 million years old. Is it really that old? Is it? I don't know. It makes me think it might be a little younger than that. And I feel like, I don't know, that seems like a long fucking time. But I'm sure they know better than I do. So at at Lund University in Sweden, they had prepared thin sections of the fossil, which were then treated so the minerals were dissolved away, leaving the organic remains. This allowed them to study the microscopic structure of the fossil tissue. Although at least other plesiosaur fossils are known to have soft tissue preserved, most historically significant museum specimens, and it isn't possible to study them using destructive sampling methods. This is the first time anyone has conducted an in-depth analysis of fossilized soft tissue from a plesiosaur. The team was amazed to discover that the reptile had both smooth and scaly skin. Taken together, the plesiosaur was an interesting chimera between something like a green sea turtle with scales and the smooth-skinned leatherback sea turtle. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I would have expected the plesiosaur to be scaleless, like contemporary Ichthyosaurus. The scaled skin and flippers probably help the plesiosaur swim through the water by providing stiffness and aid it in moving along the sea floor. When search for food, he says, the scaleless skin and the rest of the body would have reduced the effect of drag when swimming. The actual external appearance of the long-necked plesiosaur is really anyone's guess, but for now, we have a better idea thanks to the new fossil. Interesting. 183 million. I don't know. Maybe it was a little younger. Maybe it was. Maybe that's where ancient or old sightings of Loch Ness and Ogopogo come from. It's interesting that something that's often cited as a cryptid is one of the dinosaurs that has skin. that they can like analyze like soft tissues. That's interesting, right? It's kind of interesting, although the preservation process probably helps that. That's what they cite why it can do that, because of how it's preserved so nicely. Anyway, folks, that's it for the news. That's it for the newsy boozy, extra floozy. We're going to jump into some X article stuff that I did this week, I think. Not an article, but just some stuff I posted. My content creation. My content creation. My content creation. Let's see here. Okay. I posted a little video, quick little short clip of Lake Agnes from the summer. Kinda boring. I think I posted something like that before. I have a lot of videos of that place. I've been there a few times. It was this place is really nice, and I think I took my cat there on one of her last days alive to kind of show her the outdoors and stuff. It was really rainy. Obviously, she was covered. It was really rainy when I took this photo, but it was still an amazing little river falls area to walk along. Yeah, and it's a nice little... It is wet though. If it was bright out, it would look way nicer in that photo. I gotta go back there when it's summer. So happy Darwin Day, everyone. February 12th is Darwin Day, or was Darwin Day. And back in 1859, he released this banger in the picture. So I have a copy of my 150, its edition, anniversary edition. From evolution, natural selection, survival of the fittest, variation, and much more. I highly suggest giving it a read. It's a good book. Gives you an idea. It doesn't... I mean... I don't know. I had someone like reply to this in the comments, and for me, it's like it doesn't bring me further away from God. It actually brings me closer to. But for some people, it brings them further away. And there's a quote. Actually, I'm going to rely on this quote. I'm going to give this guy a shout out. Cooking with salmonella. It's got like a little squid picture in his profile picture right now. So hold on. He had a meme. He had a good meme. And had a quote. The first gulp from the glass of natural sciences will turn you into an atheist. But at the bottom, God is waiting for you. Werner Heisenberg. And what I said is accurate, arguably, even before the bottom, or at least the known bottom. Who knows what lies beyond our comprehension? So what I meant by that is that, well, first of all, arguably before the bottom. So at the bottom of the glass, for me, I don't even think I'm at the bottom yet, but I'm maybe getting closer and closer to the known bottom, because every time we reach where we think is the limit, there's always something beyond it. So I'm going to say the known bottom. That's what I mean by that. But even before you get to the known bottom, I feel like maybe hints of God is waiting for you, or suggestions of God or a creator, however you want to spin it. And then whatever your religious view is. And then once you kind of start studying like the fabric of reality, or like researching it, and then you realize there might be things that are outside the possibility of human comprehension or even perception. How do I explain this? So like, like ants, you have like really small bugs. Would you sit down an ant and talk to it and then try to explain, like if you could explain like particle physics to it, string theory, multiverse theories, like the ant probably may not even really perceive you or hear you. We don't know. It has no way to perceive these concepts. To us, there may be things larger than us in the universe itself, which concepts of understanding may exceed our capabilities of understanding, because the comparison from like us to an ant might be the same in scale. So, which is kind of depressing, right? We don't want there to be anything to be outside our ability to grasp. And it gets deep because it brings me back to like kind of like religious texts and stuff like that, where it's like you can know God, but you can never understand him. And it's like, does that take you, what else does that sound like to you? Like, well, that's like the universe in a way. And then I put up another little clip on the 13th, a little clip from chilling on some mountains. I think the storm was brewing. in the distance. Eventually, it rolled in on me later in that hike. Yeah, I remember that hike. That was a good hike. But it was kind of scary too. There's no better feeling than being up high. I don't know why I like it so much. Really do love it. So Valentine's Day might have been Valentine's Day, but what else was it? What else was Valentine's Day? Well, if you looked at the image of that post, you've probably guessed that it's World Bonobo Day. It's actually kind of fitting that bonobos get their day on Valentine's Day, as they're probably the most peaceful and intimately active, which was my attempt at keeping things PG, which I actually meant sexually active, but I didn't want to get, hit by that elgo. Anyway, today is to spread awareness of these endangered apes. Once considered a subspecies of chimpanzees, they're now considered their own species. They are only found in rainforests along the south of the Congo River. Yeah, they bang anything. They swing all ways. They are very sexual apes of all the ape family. So it's kind of cool that they put it on Valentine's Day, like the day of love in a sense. And then February 15th was World Hippo Day. So this kind of ties into the whale articles earlier. Is to spread. It's supposed to be today. I hate my autocorrect. It screws me sometimes. Today is to spread awareness for the conservation of hippos and to practice safety around them as well. They're actually pretty dangerous. Did you know that in 1909 they were placed in the same groups as pigs? They were actually more closely related to whales, dolphins, and porpoises. Pretty cool. Maybe that helps explain why whales have hip bones. So something like a hippo or similar over time slowly evolved into a whale. Anyway, the more you know. That was another post from the 15th. And that's it, folks. That's it. My Wildlife Wednesdays have vanished. I haven't posted one in a while, almost a month now. I haven't been out filming. It's been too cold. It's been way too cold. It's been a chilly willy. That's it. That's a wrap. That'll be all, folks. Should I send you off with another song? See my vest, see my vest, see my vest. That's the end of the podcast. This is the end of the podcast. We talked about whales, dolphins, and dinosaurs. I even brought up the Loch Ness Monster. Bonobos and hippos, we love them all. But for now, I gotta go. Goodbye.